Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore's 10 a.m. meditation. I'm glad that you could join us this morning. So I just want to start by asking everyone just to get comfortable in the place and the space that you're in. Just allowing yourself to breathe in deeply, breathing in up through your toes, letting your entire body be filled up. And just exhaling and releasing. Breathing in again. Deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we just relax and let go. Let go any of places and spaces where we might be holding on to tightness in our body. Breathing in and accepting this gift, this breath, that is a sacred breath, that is life itself unfolding. So this month, the Science of Mind magazine, the daily talks are given by Tracy Brown. And I've been reading them each morning and contemplating them. And I've just been so full up with them that I thought that I would start with one. And it starts with two quotes. It sets the theme with the two quotes, and then Tracy Brown is speaking, and then there'll be an affirmation. So after I read what she's written, it's in the form of a poem, then we'll just go into the concentrate on your breathing. I will do the affirmation, and then following that with more of this meditation and spiritual practice. And the title of this is The Stormy Present. The first quote is by Abraham Lincoln. It says, "The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present." And Ernest Holmes says, "Today is a fresh beginning, a new start, and a joyous adventure on the pathway of eternal progress. Today is bright with hope and happy with fulfillment." And Tracy Brown writes, "I live in the stormy present. I cannot hear birds as they sing. I live in the stormy present. I'm unsure of what life will bring. My parents' advice no longer serves me. All I hear is the pain of sighs and cries. I live in the stormy present. My hope in humanity dies. And then I breathe and remember the timeless truth of love. And then I breathe and remember joy fits me like a glove. Confusion does not define me. When I look within, I see. I just need to breathe and remember. My hope is my divinity. And affirming, I breathe and remember my divinity. I breathe and remember my divinity. I breathe and I remember my divinity. And whenever I forget and I go into the stories within my head, the things that I tell myself, the things that have happened in the past, or the stormy present, the chaos that seems to be going on in the world around us right now. When I get caught up in that, when I feel the angst, the anguish, the anxiety, the discomfort, the disconnect, I allow myself to feel those. And yet, and then, I remember my divinity. And then, and yet, I remember my divinity. And then, and yet, I remember my divinity. And then as I remember the people that I've known that have passed recently, people that belong to the center, Leslie's father, Reverend Raymond's mother, Martina's husband, people that I've known, my son's best friend, friend's father, a co-worker's granddaughter and her baby. And I feel the grief and the sadness that wells up inside of me. And I allow myself to feel that. I allow to feel what is my humanity. But still, I remember my divinity. And still, I allow myself to remember my divinity. I allow myself to remember my divinity. Remembering that there's only one power, that there's only one divine presence, one infinite creative source that lives and moves and has its being through each one of us. This is our divinity. And when I forget, and when I fall prey to those sounds inside my head, when I forget about the way that God shows up in each and every one of us, when I forget about the diversity of all of life, when I forget that what I am looking at is a reflection of God looking back at me, I breathe and I remember my divinity. I breathe and I remember my divinity. I breathe and I remember my divinity. And as I breathe in, And I remember those that I know that are not feeling well, that there's some form of sickness, that there's some discontent, that there's some sort of disease. I breathe in and honor the God in each one, the perfection that we are, that we were born perfect, whole, and complete. I remember that we're born in divinity. I remember that we are born in divinity. I remember that we were born in divinity. I'm reminded of a song that Ricky Byers Beckwith does. And the words go, before there was a time, and before there was a number, spirit did prevail in the thought of ecstasy. And before there was a dream or a lesson to remember, Spirit gently hailed the song inside of me. I remember the song inside of me is my divinity. The song inside of me is my divinity. The song inside of me is my divinity. Remembering that Spirit, that God, that divine essence, whatever name I give it, is what each one of us is. We are the divinity that is God. We are the hands and the face. We are the gender and the color and the love. We are the beauty and the peace and the joy of divinity expressed through each one of us. There is power in this word. There is power in the recognition of the divinity that moves and lives and has its being as each one of us. And we remember we are divinity. We are God's divinity. We are God's divinity. to living and moving and breathing and knowing the truth of the oneness of all of life, of the way that God shows up as the splendid colors, the splendid magnificence that we see reflected back at ourselves whenever we see another as the divinity. We know that we're in the divine flow of love, that we are the divine expressiveness and wholeness that is spirit, as only it can show up through each one of us. Unique, perfect, whole, and complete. So I declare that this day is magnificent, that this service is magnificent, that as we come together at the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore, that we recognize the diversity and divinity, and that our strength is in diversity, that our strength is in recognizing the diversity in each one of us as we come together for something greater than what we are. There is a power that is felt, that is expressed, that goes out, that resonates with the God quality, with the eternalness of all of life. We are eternal spiritual beings having a human existence right now, connecting. And whenever two or more are gathered, there's a power to that that's palpable and can be felt. And even though we're in a virtual space and place, we feel the power of this word, of this time together, of the spiritual practice. We dare to know. We dare to be in the flow. We dare to recognize our divinity. And we know that it sets us free. How grateful I am to recognize this. How grateful I am to speak these words, to know this truth, that there is this one power. It's radiant, magnificent, shows up through each and every one of us. Each one of us is on purpose. Each one of us is a song of ecstasy. Each one of us is the divine in form. I give thanks for this. And I recognize the divinity in me. I recognize the divinity in we. I recognize that we are this divinity. And it is good. It is so good. It is uplifting. It is magnificent. It is powerful. And all is well. Amen, Ashe, and so it is. And I invite you to sit in the silence until the music starts. Thank you. Namaste.